Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to a News, Games, and More. I'm your host on this Friday edition of IGN's weekly show about what's going on in the news, games, and the more sphere. And here to talk about it all with me are my friends Mitchell, Stella, and David. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Mm-hmm.
How
Kind
about
of the
you?
end of times, but
I'm doing great. You know, it's Friday. We got a ton of news to talk about. One thing that I'm actually happy that we're actually going to be talking about first is Black Myth Wukong. I think we're all pretty much anticipating this game. Now, Black Myth Wukong came out of absolutely nowhere with their first trailer, made up of 13 minutes of pure gameplay that pretty much just like took the world by storm. But since that trailer launched, we've learned very little more about this particular breakout Chinese indie game. Now, we actually had some people on the ground. IGN China recently visited the developer, Game Science, for an exclusive set of interviews, and they learned a lot more about this game that we're super hyped about. Now, I got a breakdown here, but we also have it on the IGN website. Some of the highlights that kind of caught my eye is it's designed to be a gritty take on Journey to the West, which is the story of the Monkey King, son Wukong, and they're actually planning on making this game a trilogy, which is pretty damn dope. So I kind of want to talk about some of the new information that we've gleaned from this interview. What do you all think about some of the details here? Let me start with you, Mitchell. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think a lot of it is stuff that is a confirmation of stuff that was kind of already rumored. They
Mhm.
said that they don't plan to release this game in less than 3 years. So this is a game that again is not something that's in the near future. I would be surprised if this came out anytime before 2024. But all the same, it's God, it looks so good.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it again, and it's everything I could have wanted in a Sun Wukong game. Uh, and yeah, I think they also said, like you mentioned, this is going to be a trilogy, so that's exciting. And I think it also leaves open the idea of doing two other games that are also based within Chinese mythology. So you can have an Ao Kuang game, or just there's Hebois. I'm just naming Smite heroes at this point. The Smite heroes that I remember. But they're all characters that I would be excited to learn more about them, because I don't really know anything about them. Wukong, we obviously know because of stuff like Dragon Ball Z, and the fact that Journey to the West is such an adapted story in many different forms. But I think it's real exciting to be able to have this vehicle to explore Chinese mythology in a way that's never been done before.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. Like the last time, like my introduction actually to Journey to the West, like the story was through an anime back in 2000, I believe. I want to say called Monkey Magic. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Am I the only one that's seen Monkey Magic? I
Is
probably
it
have.
related to Sayuki?
Uh, I don't know.
Because I know Sayuki is also based on Journey to the West.
I just remember being a kid and I saw this monkey with a rod, and he was on a flying nimbus. Again, like these were elements that I also saw in Dragon Ball as well.
Mhm.
Mhm.
This is actually the first take on Journey to the West, though, that I've actually seen that's like much like they said, this is like a gritty take on that particular mythos, and I'm super duper excited about it. Stella, how do you feel about this and all the information that we've kind of gotten from IGN China?
So I think it's really cool. I'm impressed and kind of surprised that they want to make this a trilogy, because when the first trailer got leaked or whatever, they're like, "Oh, please don't look at this. Like, don't expect the final product to look like this. Like, we're really working hard on it." And I'm just like, okay, well, with that attitude, like, do they want to wait and see how successful they'll be after the first game? But it seems like they're pretty confident, so that makes me feel even more confident in the release of this game. I'm just super excited because it looks like a Dark Souls hybrid, and I'm all
Hmm.
about that, so I'm super excited.
Yeah. Now, like you mentioned, Stella, they did say that like in this interview that it 3 years out, like they've been working on this game for 2 years so far, and it's like 3 years out. David, do you think we might be putting too much pressure on them? Because I feel like like there's so much anticipation that's been built in such a short amount of time. Do you think we might be putting too much pressure on them to like make like to spin gold out of this game so
I mean,
soon?
I would never want to tell a developer anything because I have no idea I can't even imagine what it's like to work and develop a game. But of course, we don't want a No Man's Sky situation coming out of this. But it doesn't seem like that's the case here, and I think it's really cool that they launched basically the first footage that we see is gameplay footage instead of some cinematic trailer, which I think is really cool. And again, like everybody else is talking about Dark Souls and everything. Every time I hear, like I said this the last time I was on the show, Dark Souls terrifies me. Bloodborne terrifies me because I'm a wimp and I don't like dying a lot in games and learning from my mistakes when it comes to video games. Just want to play it straight through, because I'm just a wimp. But the visuals look so incredible. I hope they don't rush it. I hope they have the financial backing that they can take as long as they need. Like if it needs to take 5 more years for it to be perfect or as close to perfect as it can be, then take 5 years. I hope they don't feel the pressure to be rushed because then you're not going to get a good finished product.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm going to read a comment from IGN user AOL Sun 619er. Now this game, this shows you the power of this game. Okay, I'm going to read this comment here. So this guy said, or this person rather said, I literally only made an IGN account just for this post, and I've been on IGN for probably 8 years. So this person has been with IGN for 8 years. They haven't made a comment. This is their first comment, and I can verify that. I checked. This is the only comment they ever made on IGN.com. And this is what they said. What this studio is doing is an absolute godsend of inspiration to all, shows us what is capable of the human mind if we put our minds to it. Brilliant team they have over there. I would almost call them godly. Bravo, you guys, and please keep this work going. I absolutely want a universe series of games like this to wash out the same old the industry has been doing nowadays. Bravo. Wow, that is a mouthful. And again, like this, much like this speaks to what David said. I hope that they don't rush it. Like I feel they definitely got a lot of support from us as consumers. So I just hope that they actually take the time that they need to make this something special. Because I mean, like it obviously has the makings of something special just by looking at it. Wow, I'm just gushing over this. It's turning into a cicada. I mean, like, look at this is just amazing. And apparently, this level that we saw, although we saw 13 minutes of it, this actually, I believe they said they're making this. This is supposed to be like a 60-minute long level that we're looking at right now. In actuality, so yeah, the bravo to the team over there. Man, I can just stare at this forever. It's amazing.
I think one of the other things that they said is that it's planned to be a 15-hour game or so, which seems about right for this style of game. I know there's people that obviously would want it to be 20 to 30 hours, but I think for an action adventure game like this, 15 hours seems exactly what I would hope for.
I mean, it's quality over quantity, right? And like, I'm totally okay with that, honestly.
Yeah, same. It doesn't need to be 60 hours long if if the story doesn't warrant it. It doesn't need to be. And besides, I'm sure there's going to be some replayability as well that we'll get to experiences as well with this game. Now, moving right along to our next story, which is about it's about a war. It's about a Star Wars, guys. That's right. Ewan McGregor has explained that for now, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series for Disney Plus is a, in quotes, standalone season and will begin shooting in spring of 2021. Now, he said in an interview with ET that it's going to be a standalone series, but we'll have to wait and see. So it didn't sound like this was an absolute. Now, David, when you hear like standalone season for any show that's supposed to be a series, what does that mean to you, and how exactly does that make you feel about this upcoming series?
It doesn't change my opinion of it either way. A lot of it just has to do with money and contracts. So when you get these shows like True Detective or Altered Carbon, where somebody like, which is sadly canceled, but somebody like Anthony Mackie or Joel Kinnaman comes in, or Matthew McConaughey, typically they're either going to sign them for a 2-year deal up front, or if it's an anthology series like True Detective, they're just going to do a 1-season deal. And even though Obi-Wan probably isn't going to be an anthology series, the fact that it's Ewan McGregor, who also does films and other projects, just a very busy guy, he's probably not going to commit to saying like, oh, I'll do like 3 or 4 seasons. But also it's Obi-Wan on Tatooine, so he's only there for he's there for a few years, several years. But I mean, how much can we see him hiding on Tatooine and, in the desert? We get a glimpse of that in Star Wars Rebels, which is really cool to kind of hint at maybe a similar show that we're going to see, where you get to see an older Obi-Wan watching over Luke, which is really cool. But I guess I wouldn't want them to overdo that story. I think 1 season is probably enough, but if it warrants a 2nd season, I mean, go for it. I think that's awesome. But with a guy like Ewan McGregor, I doubt they'd sign him for more than 1 season up front, just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that kind of makes sense because like I can't even recall the last television series I've ever seen Ewan McGregor in. He strikes me as like he's a feature film actor more so than he is like a television series. But
Yeah,
obviously,
it was Fargo. It was Fargo on FX, which is awesome. If you haven't seen it, he plays he plays a pair of brothers, and he's fantastic. He's really good.
Okay. Yeah, Fargo is actually on my list. I'm glad you mentioned that because I know Chris Rock is going to be in the upcoming season. I haven't watched Fargo the series, but I saw Chris Rock. I was like, all right, I'll start watching this now. Not to get distracted from our Star Wars conversation here. I'd love to know, Mitchell, are you a fan of Obi-Wan, and are you looking forward to I guess this single shot series?
Yeah, I don't know how you can not be a fan of Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's awesome. But yeah, and the 1 season thing, I think we need more shows that are developed with the intention of being 1 season. I think there's something that's really cool about a long form, like not a long form, but just a TV series that has a planned start and a planned end. And I think there's been plenty of shows out there that have proven that a 1 season TV show is great. Look at Watchmen. Watchmen is such a great self-contained story that follows the comic book, and it it said what it needed to say, and then it got out, and it did have that little tease at the end to kind of let people think that there could be something more, but it was so self-contained that it was just kind of beautiful the way it all wrapped up. So I think a 1 season Obi-Wan series is perfect, to be honest.
Yeah, you know what? You're making me think about it, like, because I think that's not a bad idea, because like if you look at a lot of anime does that. Like
Yeah.
we've gotten lots of 1 seasons of some very iconic anime shows. Like Outlaw Star is the first one that comes to my mind. But like when you yeah, exactly. Yeah, like but you look at television shows, and a lot of them, like if they're successful 1st season, 2nd season, they just keep it going, and they don't know when to stop, to the point where they're just concocting stories that make absolutely no sense. I'm looking at you, Supernatural. I'm a huge fan of you, Supernatural. Don't worry. Been on air for 15 seasons. No, I'm one of the biggest Supernatural fans out there. I have like hundreds of videos that I've made about the show on my personal YouTube channel. So don't get me wrong, but it's one of those shows that, they kept going longer than they should have. They're finally ending in their 15th season. Which isn't it's very convoluted story now that they've been concocting. But I'm going to ask you, Stella, like, what's one of your favorite shows that is still ongoing that you think should have ended like maybe 3 seasons ago?
The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Like, I love that show, but I fell off it for a while. I forget what season it was, but after a while, I kind of fell off it, and then I came back to it, and I was like, oh, it got good again. But I shouldn't have had to take a break. Like, it could have just ended, I don't know. I like it. I also, with talking about like anime and other shows that stop at 1 season, I was very used to watching like Korean shows growing up, right? And those always end in like 1 season. Very special occasions they'll bring back a season 2, but a lot of the time it's just 1 season. So when I started watching American shows, I was like, oh wait, there's a season 2. And then I started getting used to the fact that, oh, there are going to be more seasons. There's going to be like a surplus of episodes. And like a lot of times I get really disappointed. I'm just like, oh, this could have stopped at season 1 or 2. So honestly, with this, I'm pretty okay with it. Especially with a franchise like Star Wars, where there's so many opportunities to do more, like what The Mandalorian is doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm totally okay with this.
And honestly, it shouldn't really come as a shocker to any of us that we might get like a single season, because I believe the Obi-Wan Kenobi series was originally set to be a movie taking place 8 years after Revenge of the Sith. So it kind of makes sense, that they're going this particular route. A commenter on IGN.com, Ireland 2033 says, one season, well written, is all we'd need, really. No sense in dragging out a story at the detriment of the character, and I think that actually makes a lot of sense. I think we all can agree with that. If it doesn't warrant a second season, then let's not do it. But of course, we all know Disney got Ewan McGregor bucks. So if it did warrant a second season, all you got to do is just show that cash, and I'm pretty sure Mr. McGregor might reconsider after reading whatever awesome script they come up with for the character. Now, our next story is about a very wonderful woman. Some might even say a Wonder Woman. As a matter of fact, I probably should say Wonder Woman, because it's about Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 1984. Now, what Warner Brothers has officially postponed Wonder Woman 1984 to the holidays, setting its new release date for December 25th, 2020. That's Christmas Day, y'all. Christmas Day. You're not going to be spending it with the family. You're going to be in the theaters, apparently. That's what they're hoping for anyways. Now, it was previously on pace for an October 2nd release after it was delayed multiple times in the past. But the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has caused Warner Brothers to kind of just rethink their plans yet again. And in a statement to Variety, Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group Chairman Toby Emmerich said, quote, we're very proud of this particular film and look forward to bringing it to audiences for the holidays. Now, my question that I'm going to pose to the panel here is, does anyone plan on, first off, going to the theater to see this during the holiday season? Like, does anyone have any? First off, do you have any plans of going to any theaters?
Hell no.
Anytime soon? Okay.
No.
Okay, all right. You seem very passionate about this, Stella. I want to know. I want to know why. And I think we all know why, But I want to know your reasoning.
The world is on fire. There's this airborne virus going around. I don't know. For me, I don't feel like any movie is worth the risk, right? Like I do everything inside now, and it's like, if there's a drive-in theater, sure, that might be fun because you stay in your own car. But also what Disney did with Mulan, even though I don't really agree with it, I have my own qualms about the movie, but anyways, I think that if they released it digitally, that's not a bad idea to get the movie out, especially if they want people to still ride the hype and be like, oh, I really want to see this movie, but it might turn into a New Mutant situation where it's like, oh God, it took forever. I'm not really interested anymore. So for me, I feel like a digital release is totally fine, especially in the world that we live in right now. And there's nothing wrong with changing the way that we view movies, that we have entertainment, especially since the world's kind of on fire. So that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think like they're purposely trying to avoid like the whole video on demand service or distribution for this particular movie, because maybe they're possibly looking at what Tenet has done with releasing it in theaters. David, I'm kind of curious. What do you think their reasoning is actually behind like postponing Wonder Woman 1984 yet again in hopes of getting it in theaters? Why do you think they're doing this?
I don't think Warner Brothers. I mean, everybody's looking at the same news, and I mean, for the most part, same news, same newspaper, same stories that we are. I don't think Warner Brothers thinks that the world's going to be back to normal necessarily by then. Everybody's going to feel comfortable going to theaters in December, but I think they're probably waiting to see how Tenet does. I mean, it just had its first big weekend, did I think like around 20 million or something like that, with for a $200 million movie. But again, the currency of the world, understandable. I mean, hey, Tom Cruise went to go see it in the theater, So I mean, it's one of those things that I think they're waiting to see how well Tenet does. And I think you're right, Stella. I think they might decide to release it at home if Tenet bombs overall and doesn't make its money back. I think Tenet's going to make its money. I think between on demand and at the theater, it's going to make its money back fine. But yeah, I think that's what they're trying to like play the wait and see game. Let's give it a couple months. Let's get Tenet a few months. Because for instance, in LA or Southern California or California in general, we have tier systems, that Governor Newsom has established on a certain, when you're infection rate is lower, you can open up movie theaters. So Orange County, which is just south of LA County, which is where we are, just opened up theaters. So I actually went on AMC.com, the movie theater, just to check out to see what the seat situation was looking like. And it's packed. I mean, packed in the sense that a lot of the seats are X'd out, of course, but pretty much every theater I was looking at was sold out. So that was kind of interesting. I mean, it was really hard to get a ticket to go see Tenet this weekend. So people are willing to go. I think maybe they're going to wait and see what happens, with Tenet, see how much money it makes.
Yeah,
there's definitely a demand for it. I was looking at availability, and it's not easy to go see Tenet right now in LA or Orange County. Sorry.
That's insane, because it's the reason I say it's insane is because like I was all for this at first. Like we spoke about this, I believe, like maybe 3 weeks ago, or maybe the last episode of that we were all together doing NG Plus. And I was like, I definitely want to see Wonder Woman and the New Mutants in theaters. But then but when you kind of think about the current state of the world, having to wear a mask for like 2 hours plus, I mean, those masks, they hurt your ears. I don't know if it's just me. I'm wearing glasses and a mask. My ears are just hurting. And then, of course, if I want to consume a beverage, a nice tasty beverage or popcorn, I got to do that. And then it's just like too much of a hassle. It's much more convenient for me to just be here at home and then just like kind of put it up on my own personal big screen. I'm hoping that they actually release it video on demand as well. Again, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with like going the Mulan route. I mean, it's you can still do both. I mean, technically, couldn't they do both? Like,
or Trolls World Tour. Trolls World Tour did almost $100 million on VOD. So the Trolls World Tour did that well. I would think something. I mean, we'll be curious. Again, Disney Plus, are they going to release the data? Probably not. We'll never know. Or even if they do, we'll probably really never know. But we do know from Trolls, it did really, really well. It made more than the first one did. Faster, I should say. So yeah, you never know.
And with that was a premium rental, right? That wasn't like
it was $30 or $20, $19.99, something like that.
And it's just like a timed. You get to see the movie for this amount of time, and then you don't get to watch it again, right?
And and unlike, because Mulan, I mean, I say at least you still have to pay your monthly subscription, but Mulan you get to watch as much as you want. But yeah, with Trolls, I don't believe because I rented it. Yeah, I didn't get to keep it. I don't still own it. Just a rental.
So wait a minute, it just self-destructs after you watch it one time?
It's like Inspector Gadget. Yeah, it self-destructs.
Crazy.
So you got to run out your TV's gonna blow.
It's like Prime rentals, right? You have like 24 hours to watch it,
right.
And then after that, it's gone. It's like out of your list or whatever.
Again, I mean, it depends on your. Of course, everybody has different budget, but I mean, with a lot of people at home and not driving and not spending money on gas, and I mean, you kind of weigh it out, if is it worth it to you? You're not going and getting popcorn, or you can go to the store and get some Pop Secret or something, something like that. It just kind of depends on your situation. But if it's a movie, like if it's Tenet, I'll definitely fork over the money to see Tenet for a premium rental for sure.
Yeah, I think the big thing that movie companies are concerned about when it comes to going with premium VOD rentals and just releasing it on VOD, and why they're insistent on getting it into the theaters, is that it's become so easy to just capture and record stuff that's on your computer or on a console and have that for your own viewing. That's completely full quality, very easy to watch with friends. And so, they are worried about that market after the theatrical release, where they can release a movie on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, because that's really where they make their money. So yeah, that I think, man, the movie industry is in a tough place right now. So, while I don't agree with just delaying the movie and hoping that this will all blow over, or that people are going to be ready to come back to theaters, because I'm not ready. I'm definitely not going to be in a movie theater anytime soon, just because I don't think it's worth putting myself at that risk, even if even if they make all these different adjustments to make sure something's not going to happen. You're still not sure, and this is a dangerous game to play.
It is, especially for just entertainment,
Yeah.
Like yeah. Like I totally agree, and like honestly, I'm hoping like this movie. Apparently, it's planned to come out December 25th. I'm just hoping I'll be able to. I'm not worried about going to a theater. I'm hoping that I'll be able to travel back home and spend time with family for the holidays, not go to a theater and watch, a blockbuster film. Like that's my hope. And maybe, if it's on VOD, I'll pay the premium. Like this is one of those movies that I wouldn't mind paying a premium to actually see. But I guess to your point, Mitchell, like the thing is, if it is released VOD, like people can just rip that. Like I saw so many, not that I was looking for this, but I saw so many premium or premium HD quality versions of Scoob online. I paid for it. But yeah, I did see like lots of rips of that particular movie when Scoob dropped VOD. So I guess that and like you said, like they're missing out on money, because like if I already downloaded it online and it's HD quality, there's no point in me getting the DVD version of it, because I already have it, ripped on my computer and it's supreme quality.
Yeah, I think that's the big concern right now with the movie industry.
Yeah, and it's a rightful concern. Now, Golden Girl from IGN.com. I love grabbing comments from you guys from IGN. Golden Girl says on this particular topic, the problem for studios is that this scale of blockbuster really needs a theater release to bring in the kind of profits expected from the budget. VOD releases can easily turn a profit, but it's harder for them to reach the profit levels of a successful theater run. I mean, it's kind of true. I'm not gonna say that's not true, because but I mean, again, we'll see what Tenet does. I believe like it debuted. It's $200 million film, Christopher Nolan film. So far, what 20 mil is what it's raked in or racked in, however you say that damn whatever word you want to use for it, but brought in. Like 20 million so far.
Can you give us like some perspective? Is that good? Is that,
most
on
Nolan
pace?
Nolan, he's not, like a sure like Michael Bay or James Cameron when it comes to his movie. But I mean, usually he'll rack in 50 to 60 million. So it's of course a lot less than he normally gets, but it's not, worst, especially with what's going on in the world right now. It actually seems like that's not bad. It just depends, but I feel like this is going to have a long run, because I think they'll probably keep either just leave it in the theater for a super long time, or it again, once there's a shot or vaccine or something, maybe more people feel comfortable going back to the theaters, they'll release it again. And I think they can milk this movie for a while. People really want to see it. Like I said, when I checked the AMC website to see how many tickets are available, I think it shows that people are willing to go out and see it, and there's people at least curious to check it out. So yeah, I don't know, but so far it's not. I mean, it's definitely hurting. It could use some more money for sure.
Since we're still on the subject of a DC property, talking about Wonder Woman 1984, let me just mention DC Fandom is actually happening. DC Fandom Explore the Multiverse. It's happening tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so we'll find out more information about what DC has in store. They'll be exploring all the corners of the multiverse with panels, activities, and tons of exclusive content. I'm probably going to be sitting here watching again, wearing my Robin costume. I might actually take pictures this time. I didn't take any pictures because it's like I just did it just for myself. So yeah, and of course, here at IGN, we're going to be covering all the hype that's happening at DC Fandom tomorrow. So stay tuned for that tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Now, our next story, this one, I don't know, this one's kind of ridiculous, guys. It's apparently there's a scripted series starring Nick Cage as Tiger King. Tiger King's Joe Exotic has found a home at Amazon. Now, according to The Hollywood Reporter, the CBS Television Studios project has been greenlit and is in development for Prime Video. Now, this particular adaptation will apparently focus on Joe Exotic's feud with Carol Baskin and Jeff Lowe, made famous by the 2020 Netflix series Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem, and Madness. The Triple M's is what I call it. Now, according to THR, the series will live in the lion's den with Joe, explore how he became Joe Exotic, and how he lost himself to a character of his own creation. Now, what the hell? What do we think of all of this? Are we still like on the Tiger King wave, or are we kind of like are we kind of over this now? And especially, what do we think as Nick Cage as Joe Exotic? David,
I-
what do you think? What do you think of this?
Just real quick,
I-
can I just
okay,
say,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Mitch. Yeah.
props to whoever collected the B-roll for that Nick Cage montage, because that was beautiful to watch.
It was perfect.
Sorry, go ahead, David.
Nick Cage is fresh in my mind because the other day, my fiance were going through, looking through movies to rent, and one of them that popped up was Face Off. She's like, "What's Face Off?" And I said, "You ever seen Face Off?" Nicolas Cage, John Travolta. It's an incredible film. It's a John Woo movie. It's great. Watched it. It still kind of holds up. It's still entertaining, but I love Nick Cage. He just, whatever he's doing, you can tell he just goes 100% on it. I mean, whether you like him or not, he seems like a strange dude, but there's only one Nick Cage. He's very unique. There's only one Joe Exotic, at least as far as we know. And I think he's the perfect guy to do that role. I'm really excited. What I'm curious about, I don't know why I got this idea in my head, is Nick Cage, he takes his roles very seriously. I just wonder, is he going to call Joe Exotic, and he's in prison? They're going to have some conversations about his life and try to get some notes. I would love to be a fly on the wall or have some kind of earpiece where I could listen in to Nick Cage and Joe Exotic talking about the film and about how Nick is going to portray his character. I'm just this is something I will say.
That's gonna happen. Nick, he's definitely gonna do. He's gonna call it. Hey Joe, how's it going? This is Nick Cage here. So I'm gonna be playing you on a television series. Tell me more about your life. You only got 15 minutes. Okay, that's fine. I was hoping, Mitchell, you were gonna portray Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
In that scenario.
I don't know anything about Joe Exotic. I haven't seen Tiger King, so
Neither. Thank God. Oh, thank God. I was just like, I heard that if you're sensitive towards behavior towards animals, you shouldn't watch it. So I was like, I'm good. I'm okay. I know all the memes, but that's it.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I'll admit it too. I haven't seen that Netflix series, but I'm familiar with the Joe Exotic story because, but obviously before Netflix got their hands on that, this was something that has happened. It's been out there, the news about Carol Baskin and Joe Exotic and that whole ridiculous thing that he's doing or he was doing over there. So the story has already been out there in the public for years. I don't care to see it done dramatically on Netflix. That's just me. I mean, if Netflix decided to make it an anime series, I'd be all for that, though. I'm all for a Joe Exotic anime series. I mean, why not? Didn't they do that to Altered Carbon?
Yeah,
they did. They
that's
did
right.
animated. But what's interesting is that Amazon's doing it, the Tiger King with Nicolas Cage, which I kind of thought I was going to go with Netflix, but the fact that Amazon's doing it, that's
really
actually kind of
weird.
surprising. Yeah, Amazon's going to do it. So
I guess to me, I'm just like, why is this necessary? Of all the things that we want to be entertained by, why is this the thing that you decided to hold on to?
Yeah, I don't understand. Again, do we still think people are talking about Joe Exotic or this whole Tiger King, I should say? Why is this still relevant today? Is what I want to know. That we, to the point that we need a television series starring, again, it's starring Nick Cage, so you already piqued my interest with that. That alone, seeing maybe an episodic series with Nick Cage. Okay, I'm sold. I don't care who else is in it, but. I mean,
they could play it straight, or not straight, but more like a kind of like Fargo, like a Coen Brothers film where they really toe the line between the comedy and the drama, and it's some kind of really unique, interesting blend. If they go in that direction, this could be really interesting. I mean, who Cage could get an Emmy, Golden Globe? I mean, who knows? I mean, seriously. I mean, I know it's on the surface it looks silly, but this is a real thing. I mean, there are more tigers in captivity in the United States than anywhere else. I mean, period, in the world. So it's this is a really interesting subject, I think, to explore, interesting world. And it's a little silly on the outside for sure. But I think if they take it seriously, it could be, I don't know, I think it could be interesting. There's potential. We'll see. There's potential, though.
The idea of Tiger King being Nicolas Cage's big role that he finally gets an Emmy or an Oscar for is just mind-blowing to me, and I hope it happens.
How would that acceptance speech go?
Oh no.
Stella doesn't want me to. She doesn't want me to do my Nick Cage impression. Okay, I won't do it. I just want to thank Joe for everything. He was an inspiration. Sorry, I don't know if chat likes it. I'm sorry, chat's probably stop doing impressions, Akeem. Cut it out.
I apologize. Looking at the chat right now.
I apologize for my impressions, guys.
Oh, does he have an Oscar? Sorry, apparently he has an Oscar. I don't know.
Did someone just whisper that to you? How'd you know?
No, I'm
Really
looking at
put
the
in
chat.
YouTube
World
chat.
War
Yeah.
V
Oh,
says
okay.
he has an Oscar. ...
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I
well,
mean, Cage has a big history. I mean, he's related to Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, there's a lot. Nicolas Cage he descends from Hollywood royalty. So we'll see.
Sorry, I
there's-
just saw Brett in chat say keep doing impressions, and I'm just like, but no, just
Okay, well there you go. See, people like it. People like the impressions. Take that stuff.
Want more, Akeem? Give them more.
I don't want to do any more Nick Cage. It's weird now. Now it's just getting weird. I don't want to keep doing his voice.
See, the more you do Nick Cage, the more you become him, and you lose your sanity.
Yeah,
so
and I don't
it's a
want to be
dangerous
Nick
slope.
Cage. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to. I wish I could actually be Nick Cage, at least for just a day. As a matter of fact, next episode of NG Plus that I'm on, I'm going to do it entirely as Nick Cage. So stay tuned for that, guys. It's going to be amazing. That's not going to happen. Now, there's also apparently there's another limited series that Kate McKinnon is going to be in as Carol Baskin. So this is why I'm asking the question, like, do we need more Tiger King like shows? Nick Cage, Kate McKinnon. Why didn't they just work together on a series? Like, why would I would love to see Nick Cage and Kate McKinnon working together in an SNL skit. This should have just been a skit, as a matter of fact, not a television series. But you know what? They managed to sell it, so I'll give it to them. Comment from Jiraiya Boy from IGN.com says, much like I guess three of us here on this show, I never watched it, but I always thought a huge part of the draw was that the characters and events are almost too crazy to be true, but were. Wouldn't a scripted show just ruin that? I mean, I would say, I mean, in my opinion, I don't know. That's what I'm going to say. I would say yes, actually. Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, like it's a very wild story that, I mean, it sounds like the things that's my fan fiction is made out of. So like for this to actually be reality is just kind of insane. Also, I just exposed myself for writing fan fiction.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you have fan fiction?
Hey, Red, can we edit that out in post? Don't just edit that out in post, Red. I don't want
lives
people
on
to
the
know
internet now.
Now, our final story falls in the more section of news. So, you got news, you got the games. This is the more section of news, games, and more. A new study published in Science Advances found that hematite, a form of rust, there's various different forms of rust, y'all, was discovered on the moon. Yes, that's right, guys. The moon is rusting. It's rusting right now. This is weird. Now, scientists believe the explanation of rust being present on the moon has to do with the Earth's upper atmosphere. Now, the study explains that the moon has, quote, trace levels of oxygen due to the Earth's magnetic field. So that means it's our fault. Of course, everything is our fault. Leave it up to 2020 to put rust on the moon. Like in a million years, I never would have thought I'd hear those words. Hey, dude, there's rust on the moon. It's literally on the moon. Now, more data needs to be gathered to conclude precisely how the interactions are occurring, and especially to answer the question of how hematite is forming on the dark side of the moon where Earth's oxygen wouldn't reach. Get that, guys? Now rust is on the dark side of the moon, and this is weird. I'm not talking about the survival video game from Face Punch Studios. Shout out to Face Punch Studios for Rust, the video game, not Rust, the actual rust that's on the moon right now. What do we think about Rust? Not the video game, but actual Rust being on the moon. That's not the game that we can play, but Rust that's like rusting on an actual planet. What do we think of this?
Sorry, that was a lot of rust. The whole time I'm just like, take a shot every time my team says rust, and you'll be out.
Take all the shots. But no, what do we think of this? Rust on the moon? Did we ever think we'd see this day?
Specifically that thought? No, I never had that thought in my brain. No, but I think the real interesting part of the story is that in order to get rust, you obviously need oxygen, you need water, and like the idea of water making its way to the moon, I think is the real puzzling element that is currently wrapping itself around scientists' minds right now. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't know a lot about the moon. I don't know about moon science. What do you want from me, Akeem?
So they don't know what's happening then exactly, like what this could lead to. That's what they're studying right now.
Yeah, they're not sure. Yeah, exactly. We need more information to see what this would lead to, if this will lead to anything. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I honestly never thought I'd see the day where we'd find actual rust. We'd find a rusty ass planet or a rusting planet. Not a rusty ass planet, but a rusty planet before we find actual aliens. And like I never thought I'd see this day. I was hoping we'd find aliens before we found actual rust on the planet. I don't know, David. How do you feel about planets rusting, and what do you think that means for us?
Did you just take a shot?
I don't know what it means. Like for us to go, I know there's not much to see up there, but I would just like us to take a trip back to the moon. I mean, this old bad footage from back in the day when Armstrong and them were up there, no one believes it's real. Everybody thinks that it's fake, and what's his name probably shot it. So I'd like us to go back up there, just to use our nice high definition camera, shoot around a little bit, take some photos, some selfies. Let's get some new footage of the moon. I love space, so I think this is cool. I love going on YouTube. You can watch the live camera feed of the International Space Station, orbiting around the Earth and just seeing all the footage. Let's just go back to the moon. Why not?
I'm down for that.
We're supposed to have like a lunar station up there by now. I mean, there's supposed to be lunar stations and docking ports. We're supposed to be able to, go on vacations up there and all that. I mean, come on, let's get the Holiday Inn on the moon.
Let's get back to those days. I think, speaking of which, you mentioned Neil Armstrong. I think maybe he dropped his keys, and that's what's rusting up there.
Yeah.
Like, I can't find my keys. I don't know. I don't have a Neil Armstrong impression. I don't know what he sounds like. That's all I got. But yeah, shout out to commenter on IGN.com who says, Alex Summer, by the way, Alex Summers 82. Simple solution to all this rust that we're seeing on the moon. And he says, just spray a little WD-40 on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's it.
Problem solved.
They've been watching your content too long, Akeem.
I mean,
you
look.
come out with all these puns.
Akeem, are these your comments? I think you went in there and just made comments. I don't think
Look, David, it's called a hive mind. We all think alike, okay? We're pretty sure it's just keys that Neil Armstrong dropped. Mm-hmm. All we need is just a can of WD-40. I don't know if we're willing to just send someone up there just for that, though. Like, we're just like a singular can of WD-40. I feel like that'd be a waste of manpower. But you know what? Hey, what else are we doing? It's 2020.
I volunteer. I want off this planet. I volunteer.
I want to go with you. I don't want to be here anymore either. I'll rather be on a rusty ass planet.
I want to be here. Black Myth Wukong is coming out in 3 or 4 years.
Look, I'll come back in 3 or 4 years, okay? Jeez, how about that? I'll come back the day that launches.
But talks about like having a space station up there kind of have you guys seen kind of off topic, but not really? Have you guys seen Space Force on Netflix?
No.
Oh, wait, I have seen that.
Okay.
I think I know. I just want to make sure I know what I'm talking about before I say something.
It's the one with oh my God,
Steve Carell, right?
Yes,
Steve Carell.
Yeah, they established a moon base and everything. So I don't know. Anyways, that just reminded me of that. On the real, this is kind of terrifying because it's like a change that's happening now, and scientists are like, "Oh no, what the fuck is going on this rusty ass planet?" And I'm just like, "Cool, great, just another thing to be stressed about. That's fine."
Language, Stella.
Sorry.
It was just one. I mean,
okay, we're allowed one.
Yeah, we're allowed one, and it's Friday too, so and we're talking about a rusting planet. So
no, excuse you, a rusty ass planet.
Yeah, rusting ass planet. Well, you know what? This was fun. I think that's it for news, games, and more. Thank you so much to Mitchell, Stella, and David for this awesome convo. This was fun, guys. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully you all did too. And thanks to all of you watching at home or wherever you're consuming IGN content right now. Have a wonderful and safe weekend. Seriously, be safe out there. Wear your masks and take all the necessary precautions. We'll see you all next week for more news, games, and more. Take care.